What's up, everybody? Hopefully 93 in the place to be. Welcome to the Wrestling Corner. This is episode 6 of season 6. How's everybody doing on their end? I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I really do. Up on this Wrestling Corner, it will be a Raw recap, and I have a big announcement to make. Big announcement. No, before we get into the Raw recap, because I also like to say that, since what the hell, Breeze getting involved, bringing up Breeze as I'm watching SmackDown. Also, I like to talk a little bit about what's been going on SmackDown if you missed out. SmackDown opened up with good, and you know what? Not even good, but passionate. Not just good, but passionate promo to build up the Dean Ambrose Dolph Ziggler match at SummerSlam. Basically, and it stayed face and face. There's Brock. Oh, yeah, 5. Here comes Shane. Some of these security guards about to get effed up. I'm surprised that Brock didn't beat up any of these security guards. Statement has been made. Retaliation just like that. But anyway, SmackDown opened up with a big, I got talking about good passionate promo between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. Somehow it stayed face and face, but it brought up good points. One would maybe say Dean kind of played a little bit of the hero where, he basically posed the question. He basically challenged, Dolph Ziggler's credibility, his potential. He basically challenged his potential. First, he's basically saying that, first when Dolph came out, he was talking about, we're almost alike, and instantly, Dean said we're not. You would think most of the face and face promos, they're both agreeing with each other. There's really no, there's really no friction until maybe at the near end, but no, Dean quickly, scratched, the whole, basically skipped the whole, I respect you, you worked hard to get to this position, just like I did. No, he basically we're not, I scratched and clawed my way to the top. Wow, no, you're all, no, first he's like, you're all show, I'm all go. I scratched my way to the top, while all you really done is complain. But I liked how Dolph basically instantly, instead of just like playing it cool, like, you playing cool, like, okay, but I'm still going to respect. No, Dolph quickly countered with, are you really going to go with that we both start, that you scratched and clawed when you came in with Rollins and Reigns as the Shield and was a top act instantly. I like that Dolph came back with that because I'm like, he has a point. It wasn't like the Shield. I mean, like, yeah, Dean Ambrose, he clawed in terms of the independence, but in terms of WWE, yeah, upon arrival, he was treated as a big act along with Rollins and Reigns, the Shield. It was like the Shield came about, started here, and then worked their way up to being a top act. No, they were a top priority to the Raws and SmackDown once they came. So I like that, Dolph countered with that, and how, while you started off with the Shield, I started off as a male cheerleader. Heck, Dolph could have went on further and said that, he started off as a freaking caddy for Chavo Guerrero's Curran White gimmick. You guys remember that? He could have started off with that, but he started off with, the Spirit Squad. And look at that! And look at that! He's the only member of the Spirit Squad that is still on the roster. So I liked how Dolph countered with that, but I also like that Dean, brought a little bit of realism. No, I like that. They kept the realism that, yeah, we've always heard about, Dolph, being disgruntled and always, how his mouth gets him into trouble. And it's probably the reason for why his push didn't go all the way that he thought it was going. He's been told, you're that good, but then you're too good or whatever. Oh. But so then Dean, Dean was on basically saying how you're probably not as good as you say you are. You're the guy. While you basically you do all this show off and you always steal the show, but you don't win. While I'm a winner. Them Dolph, he comes back passionate, that while he's gonna steal the show and melt Brooklyn down to the ground, he's gonna win the WWE Championship. And Dean instantly, nope, no, you're not gonna do any of those things. You're gonna prove what you are. You're not that good as you say you are. So I felt it was a great promo. It was a good, passionate promo between the two. And I feel that, they could go on that promo alone for the build to SummerSlam. But you never know. The build is in jeopardy right now because right after that promo, right after Dean left, this Heath Slater's got gored in the office.
I think we're actually going to be dramatic.
But anyway, right after Ziggler cut his promo, he got dropped with his sister Abigail by Bray Wyatt. And led to Bray Wyatt basically challenging Dolph. Basically, go against me with your number one contendership on the line. And of course, Dolph being Dolph, the next segment, went to Shane and Bryan and wanted to make the match. So right now it's in jeopardy. But if Dolph Ziggler goes on to win, I feel that promo alone just set everything in place for that for the build. It made you care. It made you care about it, and it posed a good question that, basically, does Dean have a point that, Dolph Ziggler, despite how many fans, chant his name and how many people online, say that, he's the most held down guy in the roster, and however you feel about him, despite him being this show off and this show stealer, is he really that good? Because you can steal the show, but but that doesn't mean you win the match. You know, that's one thing Dean Ambrose talked about, how, you know, you're always concerned about what the fans are saying about you, what people on the internet are saying about you, what office is saying about you. You're always so concerned about stealing the show and, you know, doing that, but you're not too concerned about winning. And you could bring up a good point, but anyway, that was a good kickoff for SmackDown. And you know, most of you know, face for face promos, they don't get that. They don't get that passionate that quick. It's probably until like if they keep it face versus face and nobody turns heel, and it is a pretty good promo between the two opponents. It probably doesn't get that passionate until like the go home segment, like the go home episode. But they went to, you know, fifth gear, you know, and got everybody invested, hopefully instantly. John. Hey, what's up, John? How's it going? Is this a heel Dean? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was a heel Dean. I mean, I can understand somebody feels that way, but I think, you know, how can I put it? I think Dean made his point without coming across, you know, heelish or too heelish. And because the Dean's character seems like, you know, like he's based on, you're an obstacle. So, you know, no matter how I feel about you, I have no problem saying I'm going to beat you. I have no problem saying that. Because he even praised him, like, look, we're gonna have a great match, you know, but look, I'm gonna come out the winner. So I really hope that it doesn't lead to Dean, you know, turning at some. Part of me feels that it's going to lead to Dolph Ziggler turning heel when he cut that promo before the 6-pack challenge, and I say he's not going to let this one slip. You know, it's not in the GM or the commissioners, and it's in my hands. I'm not going to let it slip. And the problem is thinking, why do I feel him? He's going to, if he does get number one contender after me, not even that, after he won, because of that promo. Jay-Z, he feels that this is in his hands now. So if he was to lose, he might crack where, like, come to a breaking point and he turns heel. But you never know. Hey, it's Devin. Shadow Gabriel. Hey, Malcolm. Hey. How's it going, Devin? I'm all right. And I see your comment, John, and you know what? Let me get into the Raw recap because it has a relation to do with Raw. By the way, also Apollo Crews became number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And I maybe never said it on the corner because for 2 months the corner was inactive. But I said to many of my friends that I feel that Apollo would be the one to take the belt from The Miz. And that was even before the draft. Even before the draft split. I felt that Apollo was going to be the one. After Cesaro didn't do it, you know, after, you know, Sami Zayn didn't do it or Kevin Owens didn't get the belt back, I just thought maybe Apollo would do it. So Apollo's your new number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. You also got some weird thing with Eva Marie. She's supposed to have a match against Becky Lynch, but after her entrance, where nothing really went wrong, she suffered an injury to her left leg. Then we had American Alpha's debut. And American Alpha, I think, you know, they are. Oh, watch out! It's the F5 replay. You know, they are basically, you know, set. Well, they're set to be whenever they make the tag team championship belts for the SmackDown brand. Oh.
Randy, after being attacked by an invading Brock Lesnar, what's your condition?
Oh. Hey, Big Rick. Hey, how are things? Things are good, Big Rick. Things are good. Things are good. It's Carmella's first match on the main roster. Watch out! Oh. Oh. Oh no. So- Man. Otunga. When Brown was a heel, I've seen him. I think he tagged people from behind. You know what? Even though that ruins a chance of an actual match between Carmella and Natalya for tonight, but if that means that, if that means that until a new belt comes, till that new belt comes for the women's of SmackDown, that we are still going to get like feuds between the women. That's good because you see, I think that's good because I've always been the one that. No, I'm not gonna say I'm not saying I've been the one that a lot of people have noticed. It used to always be the thing for wrestling was there was only one female program going on at the time. There would always be one. It would probably be for the women's belt. There wouldn't be no non-title feud. And if it was a non-title, if it started off a non-title feud, it would probably be transitioned into like a triple threat, in a triple threat or somehow in the title picture. It was never just a feud between two women that did not like each other. And while the title program was going on, that was going on. That used to always be a thing. It was only one female program. That was the case in WWE and even most time in TNA when the Knockouts division. And if there was another program in the Knockouts division, it had to deal with the beautiful people if they weren't tag team champs, especially when the Knockouts division first started. But most times, it's always been one female program. And it seems like that's the case for Raw. Because with Raw, it just seems like the only three they're going to be focusing on for right now is Sasha, Charlotte, and Nia Jax. I don't count Darren Brooks. She's still just the lackey of Charlotte. But now, with that being said, I think, oh wait, no. I mean, I was talking about American Alpha's debut. Pretty good debut, American Alpha. They didn't do anything that, they didn't really show their full. We know about them. It was just to get people to get to know them. So, but we all know American Alpha. Like I was saying, they're set out to be the tag team champion. That belt is made. I'm just sure there's no question about it. But anyway, let me get on to the Raw recap. The Raw after the first episode of the new era. Raw opens up with Sasha Banks. Raw opens up with Sasha Banks, a promo between Sasha Banks and Charlotte. And it was pretty interesting. I was like in and out of the room in the kitchen during that. I remember coming back and I hear Charlotte. She called Charlotte. I think Charlotte called Sasha Banks a one-night stand. It's just like, ooh, like it's almost like you almost like, do I ill or oh, just oh, one night stand. And then Sasha, Sasha counters that, maybe, if her father didn't have all those one night stands, Charlotte maybe would never came about. I was like, ooh. But I think that happened when Chris Jericho came or before he came. And that was the thing that threw me off when Jericho interrupted the segment, because it's just like Jericho, I think for me just would have been period if a male interrupt that segment, because really no other heel male has been in involvement with either Charlotte or Sasha. So that's why I was kind of like, I'm just like Jericho. And my friend Shaw, I'm thinking, when the hell are you and Charlotte become friends? And then it leads to, surprisingly, Enzo Amore, coming on the behalf, coming to support Sasha. And he basically ribs on Chris Jericho, Bon Jovi looking, and how, there's not a direct TV commercial where, the power to turn back time and so on and so forth. And it leads to, and the segment went for 20 minutes. And it really felt like, and that's the standard for Raw. That's been the case since the Attitude Era, The opening segment is 20 minutes long. But it was pretty something new, because Sasha, Charlotte, Enzo, and Jericho, that's not a known cast for promos. Those four are always together, So it was something new. It's pretty new for Sasha and Charlotte at first to kick off the Raw with a segment with each other. And so it led to a mixed tag match, which Charlotte picked the win after Dana Brooks tried to get involved, and Sasha slapped Jericho, and Charlotte capitalized with the natural disaster, and then led to Enzo getting cold breakered, and then Kaz coming out to prevent further damage to his boy, Enzo. So that was it for that. Charlotte, one could call it 50-50 book, and picking up a win as soon as and now they already had that SummerSlam Sasha and Charlotte part 2, for WWE is part 2 for the title. Sure. Then we had Braun Strowman with another squash match against. I'm looking right here. His opponent was Evan Anderhold. But the good thing is, at least this time, his opponent didn't look like, his last one, who kind of looked all weird. Somebody, I think, prepared him to Franklin the Turtle. Hey, it's Franklin. Hey, it's Franklin. That Franklin. But it was pretty interesting, And it seems like now the case of Braun Strowman's squash matches, that Byron, for some reason, is always in the ring and has a little interview with, the squashy, why are you doing this? And it's pretty funny that for the first time, they had a jobber actually just say, yeah, I'm going to get $1,000 for this. Hey, I'm for years when I was growing up, my brother always say, these people that are doing these jobber matches, they probably get their $1,000 for this match. I just always thought how do you know 1,000? I think it's just just spitballing. But I would to assume they get money for being enhancement talent. But it's funny, he's 1,000, and if I win, I get 5,000. And just like that, he got demolished in the reverse choke slam. And by the way, I actually like that Braun Strowman is using the reverse chokeslam as a finisher. The first time I was introduced to the reverse chokeslam as a finisher was in the Nintendo GameCube game, Day of Reckoning 2. That's one of the strongest moves in the game, the reverse chokehold. Oh, we got to It's one of the strongest moves in the game. I think it's like a rank S move or rank A, and it's delivered with major impact. They call it, I think they call it Amazing Impact. But I have to agree with my friend Lloyd, where he was like, it's one of those moves where it looks effective depending on who does it, because it's probably not going to look effective if he does it on a bigger, when he starts dealing with more, named people. Like, let's say he does it on, let's see who's on the roster. Let's say he was to do it on Cesaro. It probably won't look as effective. It might just be boom, and just like the wasteland where it's like, well, that was it. So I think that's what makes the End of Days. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Bray Wyatt just got injured. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Oh man. And Bray just has come back. I just hope it's just a sprained ankle, but man, we might have just saw Bray Wyatt injury. It's probably his ankle. But I was talking about how, I was talking about Baron Corbin. When he first did the End of Days, I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool finisher. But my concern was, okay, could he be able to do it on bigger people and will it look still impactful? And when I saw him do it on the likes of, Rhino and like even some jobbers he fought that were pretty big, and it still looked effective. He still able to do it in an effective manner. So that's why I was like, okay, the End of Days, that's a pretty cool finish. I think Mick Foley said it a lot in the finishers DVD. One thing that he feels that makes a finisher great is that it can be done on anybody, and I agree. So I don't think the reverse chokeslam can look that impactful on everybody, but I could be wrong. Strowman's supposed to be a big guy, but okay. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but hey. So we move on to that. And then there's a segment between Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, and it leads to Mark Henry. Mark Henry, he feels that he has, he wants to, has a lot left in the tank, and let me just see and make sure, yeah, he want to make renovations for the Hall of Fame, wants to reopen it, but Stephanie and them was like, we now just want you to be, in the mentor role, because how much everybody respects you and everything. And he's like, I know you don't mean any disrespect about that, but and so I don't mean disrespect when I say you're wrong. And I'm first thinking, because it's Stephanie, and you know how I feel about Stephanie. I think I just said on the last call, I'm done with her on television. I'm just done. I thought, here she goes. She's about to emasculate Mark Henry. Okay. I really want to see how does Bray Wyatt move and after it seemed like an injury. So then, they're like, you're right, Mark. So we're going to give you a title match against Rusev. So that, oh, that's true. So then we also get a. We get a tag team match between Shining Stars and Golden Truth. And the gimmick now with Golden Truth is that R-Truth was too concerned with Pokemon Go. Basically WWE doing what they've done in the past. Incorporating something that's going on in real life that's popular into their stuff. And they did with Pokemon Go. And leave it to be R-Truth. And leaves the Golden Truth losing. That's it. They don't really do anything for the Shining Star. They're doing for Golden Truth.
I actually have a lot of respect for Dolph Ziggler. He's a workhorse. He's been in here night in, night out. He's one of these guys you can't.
So then what they was advertising about, Finn Balor's first interview / promo since coming up to the main roster, probably with Michael Cole, and almost immediately after Finn gets his first sentence in, Seth Rollins interrupts him. And I immediately said that probably somebody take that as, that was just part of the thing, or somebody just take it as, it's just probably WWE, really not confident in, Balor's promo work. Did somebody just curse something? Oh. So, Seth starts comparing himself, him and Finn are, they almost you were the NXT champion, but I was the first NXT champion. Let me see else I can, pinpoint, pick out some stuff. Oh yeah, you were selected in the first round at the draft. I was selected first. What else is there? Oh yeah, you pinned Roman Reigns last week, but on my first night after my ACL injury, I beat Roman Reigns to become, the WWE champion. And, I'm going to become the first Universal champion. And he's talking about how, you're good, but you're not great. You're almost like he's like a bad reboot or remake, like Star Trek. Yeah, I think he said Star Trek instead of Star Wars. He might have said Star Wars, and then he brought the Ghostbusters movie. What the hell? Look out! Oh! I thought that was it. And that basically goes, on how, Rollins gives Balor credit. How, if it was, I give you credit that if it wasn't for you, NXT wouldn't be where it is. And but Raw is my show because I'm the man. Yeah, shit. And he talk about how he's gonna make an example out of Sami Zayn. He's gonna send a message through Finn by making an example out of Sami Zayn. And but I like how Finn. Oh, look at this! Look at Dolph about to take off the exposed turnbuckle. I like how that's funny how Finn was like, but let's make perfectly clear. Yeah, I worked my way to the. Oh, watch out! It's like I worked my way to SummerSlam while you had it handed. And I'm like, exactly. He did have it handed to him. And that was on Hiccup 7. I just love how he responded. I handed it to you. I never had anything handed to me. I'm like, what the hell? I never had anything handed to me. And then, oh, that what I handed to me is that Universal Championship when I beat you. And so that I am the man at SummerSlam. And then, Finn, the only thing, I can't really do an Irish accent. Like, the only thing you're going to have handed to is your arse. I'm like, ooh. What the hell? Oh, he just beating Dolph down. And then, Finn, Seth tried to bad telegraph punch. Gets caught, gets knocked out by Finn with the overhead with the Pele kick. Lands a segment. Pretty good segment between, Dolph and, not Dolph. Oh, no! Oh! Dolph is still number one contender, but now my concern is, is Bray Wyatt. Like, I hope he's not hurt. But pretty good segment between Finn and Seth Rollins. Okay, hold on. Let me just let me take a break to read some comments. Okay. Wait. Can we first start off with Johns because I think that's about to lead next. And that's another thing. Hey, at least Dolph Ziggler won the super kick. It's good to see the super kick get some wins again. So then, I'm right. So then, Lisa, after that, it's the Mark Henry, Rusev title match. It wasn't no different from what it was back in 2014. Mark Henry tried to beat Rusev. Those matches, they were what they were. And to pay homage, to, hold on. To pay homage to, unfortunately, who passed away not too long. I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago. Former, what the hell? Eric Rowan. What the hell? Get in there, Dean. Oh. I want to say that I want to say that Bray, that's only a sprained ankle and not anything too serious, but you can tell that he's hurt. Look how he did that Sister Abigail. It wasn't really with the same, velocity or that it normally has. But I was gonna say, the Rusev and Mark Henry match, just like the quote, the late, I can't believe now I'm saying late, Dennis Green, the match was what I thought it was. And Mark Henry, tapped out to the accolade. And what's really funny is that, once again, because in the world of wrestling, I joked, I'm like, because Mark Henry's attire was his U.S. gear attire, which he wore when he went against Rusev in 2014. I'm like, Is it just coincidence that and storyline? Is this coincidence that Mark Henry is wearing a patriotic, theme, gear that he wore against Rusev back in 2014? Because he didn't know coming into the night that, and storyline wise, he was going to face Rusev. But explain to me why, for some odd reason, he just had that title. I just always joke, like, just always like, like the logic is just like, wait a minute. He didn't know he was going to have a match against Rusev for United States Championship. He just happens to be wearing a patriotic, attire. He just happens to be wearing it. But I digress. After Rusev, by the way, congratulations to Rusev and Lana for getting married. Congratulations to them. And Lana even came out, and I think in her wedding dress, and even announced to everybody about as far as I didn't know about them being married. And Rusev talks about how he's a natural born winner, and how there's no American, like we're going about how the only reason why America wins in the Olympic Games because because they're rigged, and all this and that, and just like, okay, they ban people from Bulgaria and Russia to compete, and it's just like, oh, what a coincidence. He brought up two countries that he's supposed to be representing. And he's like, there's nobody that can be. And then, lo and behold, becomes Roman Reigns, which pretty much shocked me because I was thinking, okay, what is Roman Reigns going to be doing now that he's not in the title picture at SummerSlam? And this answered it. He comes down, already looking like he's ready for a fight. Gets in Rusev's face. Rusev tries to go to the right, or I think the other way. Goes one way. Reigns cuts him off. Tries to go the other way. Cuts him. Funny when you cut off technology, you actually read Reigns' lips. Where do you think you going? Rusev goes, backs away, gets out of the ring. No, he feigns that he's gonna get out of the ring and cheap shots Roman Reigns, and a brawl between them starts. But Rusev, when he goes off the ropes, he gets clothesline. Reigns tries to go for a Superman punch. Rusev dodges, rolls out of the ring. Reigns wasn't having that. Superman punch off the steel step. Wham! End of segment. So we look like we know what Reigns and Rusev is going to be doing at SummerSlam. Not too sure if it's for the United States Championship. Not too sure. And the reason why I say that because back in 2011, when Randy Orton feuded with Cody Rhodes, it was not for the Intercontinental Championship. And Cody Rhodes was the Intercontinental Champion during the time when Cody Rhodes was doing, the face, protection, the face protector. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. None of their matches were for the Intercontinental Championship. None of them. So that's why I'm like, I won't say instantly that, yeah, Roman Reigns and Rusev for the United States Championship. It could just be Rusev and Roman Reigns non-title match. You never know. Never know. I gotta put it. You never know because it's like with Randy Orton, like when Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, it was Randy Orton in it. Randy Orton was considered a main eventer. So it's almost like, would they really have, Randy Orton go for an Intercontinental Championship? In my opinion, I felt like, wouldn't they have made the Intercontinental Championship a big deal? Like, meaning that even Randy Orton, even at this stage of his career, he understands that having a belt means something. So, with Reigns, like, is Reigns focused on specifically on Rusev, or is it on what Rusev's comment about how, no American or just no person can beat him for the title or whatever? But you never know because Reigns is supposed to be pegged as a main eventer, he is pegged as a main eventer. So it makes you wonder, will they have him go for Rusev with the United States Champion? I know Cena did, but you never know. So that leads to, John, do you think Roman Reigns will beat Rusev? Once again, I think it depends on the stipulation. If it's a title match, probably not. If it isn't, then yeah, I can see Roman winning. But it'd be crazy if Roman Reigns does become United States Champion. Why he's not, Universal Champion, he's holding the United States Champion. That'd be pretty interesting. Big Rick, what are your thoughts on the cruiserweight division being restored? I said it. I'm not trying to ignore your question. I said it last corner that while I like that the cruiserweight division is coming back, I disagree with it coming back to Raw. I thought it should have came back to SmackDown. And not solely because that's how it was back in the day. Mostly because it makes sense with the fact that Bryan Danielson is calling the action for the Cruiserweight, series. I mean, on the Cruiserweight, I keep calling it the Cruiserweight series, the Cruiserweight Classic. Along with Mauro Ranallo. So you have two people on SmackDown that are calling the action for the Cruiserweight Classic. Why not have those people? Why not have it be on SmackDown? Why not Bryan? Bryan even said, I know most of all these guys is in the Classic. I've met these guys or I wrestled these guys. Wouldn't it make sense for Bryan to say, hey, Shane, how about we bring the Cruiserweight division? How about we bring those guys in the Classic to SmackDown, to the Blue Brand? Those are my thoughts on the Cruiserweight division, revival. John, I think Bray will beat Ziggler. Well, now we know that did not happen. John, I'm saying it now. The club will beat the New Day. Yeah, I think that the New Day should fall. Their title reign should come to an end. It will be by the club, and that brings me. I think that brings me to the next part of Raw. Hold on. Sure. Oh, yeah. Actually, it don't. It actually doesn't. The next thing on Raw was Titus O'Neil versus Darren Young. And they show like something that happened before the match where Titus O'Neil is like, I like the Darren Young is great thing, but I just gotta ask, when were you ever great? And it basically that's what led to the match. And Michael Cole was trying to play it off as maybe it's just Titus O'Neil doing mine, maybe like to push Darren Young, like to motivate him, just using reverse psychology to be a good friend. And instantly, me and bro's like, why do we can just a heel turn for another heel turn with Titus O'Neil? And sure enough, it does. It basically led to another heel turn because he cheated to beat Darren Young. And it's funny when Michael Cole justified it as, it's a new era, so everybody's trying to survive, and they're just like, but watch maybe the next week, he turned, he cheated to beat his own friend. Watch. And so basically he uses the tights to beat Darren Young. And then they have the next when they come back on Raw, you see Bob Backlund, yelling at, Titus O'Neil. There comes Titus O'Neil, you better get out of my face or I'll beat your whole ass. And then just instantly Darren punches him right in the face. And this is what I just gotta say. It seems like, okay, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil again with a feud. This happened back in 2014 when they split them up. And they've either splitting them up, they've either split them up silently or actually, on camera. My thing is now, and not really just initially my thoughts, because they were initially my friend Nate's thought. He said it, and I agree with him. I think it's about that time where it's just, I think it's just like, just keep Darren Young and Titus O'Neil together as the primetime players. Just keep them together. Because you tried with Titus O'Neil as a single heel, and almost before the year even ended, he was back in a tag team. He was with Heath Slater, Slater Gator thing. And Darren Young, I think he got hurt, so you didn't see him too much. But then out of nowhere, the Prominent Player came back. And even before Darren Young even did, let's make Darren Young great again, they just silently split them up. So it's just like, I think it's at this point, look, and then they always say Titus O'Neil, he has all the tools to be a top guy. I think it's just this point, look, they work better than that both of them, no respect, but they're probably not going to go that far by themselves. So probably it's best that you keep them as a team. That's what I feel about, now, especially now that they're on the same roster. If they were on the same roster, then okay, I wouldn't be saying them. Okay, then they're gonna have to, be separate, be a single. But it's like, just keep Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, together. Because personally, I don't feel, let's make Darren Young great again is gonna go anywhere in the long run. Because even in the outset with those initial segments, it was Bob Backlund that seemed actually enthusiastic about them. Darren Young just went through the motions. But yeah, that's how I feel about Titus O'Neil and the Darren Young situation. So there's going to be a feud between them, but I think just keep them as the primetime players. Just keep them together. Then we had to do a segment between Mick Foley, Stephanie, Cesaro, and Sheamus. And basically, how both of them were not too happy about the draft. That's Cesaro, and Cesaro, rightfully so. And basically, why don't you guys take all your anger out on each other? And once again, because it's Stephanie McMahon, before the segment ends, she has to tell Sheamus, don't ever turn your back on me again. And it's just like, you just had to get that in. Like, he was talking to Cesaro. Just like, once again, it's just like, Stephanie got to, show that, as she said, she's got female balls. I agree with Shane, which is ill, which is disgusting. And she just got to always, get one over somebody. So, then at least the next thing up was Nia Jax versus Ariel Monroe. The funny thing about this, her opponent, Ariel Monroe, I saw pictures of her over the weekend. She was in I think it was a dark match or the first match of all-female independent promotion by the name of Shine. And I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I just see this girl, pictures of her in action over the weekend? And because she got a jobber entrance, she was a jobber. And that was the first time I was seeing her when I saw those pictures of her. So it wasn't like I knew her. It's just I just saw pictures of her in action over the weekend. And man, did Nia Jax hit her hard a couple of times. I mean, like when she short arm, she pulled her off the turnbuckle and short arm clothesline. You heard it like that. I was like, damn. And no, she didn't. See, this person got it wrong. Nia Jax didn't even hit the leg drop. She didn't even hit the leg drop. After she didn't hit the leg drop after she did that. She did like a fireman carry into the World's Strongest Man, which I felt was pretty good. I was like, that's probably a better finisher than this leg drop. I know the leg drop made Hogan's, legacy well known. But then again, with Nia Jax, the leg drop works because she's a big girl. She got big thighs. But, as me, I've cut me. My brother always say, no, Yokozuna never beat a lot of people with his leg drop, and that would have been believable. You know, Rikishi's done leg drops. That never beat anybody. So it's like the history of the leg drop besides Hogan is just a regular move. It's just a regular standing leg drop. But so I like that Nia Jackson, like she has a secondary finisher, just in case, you know, if people maybe the main roster start feeling that, main roster fans start feeling that leg drop, it just, man, she has that, which was pretty impactful. And then, you know, Byron actually, you know, how do you feel and everything? And, you know, Nia corner splashes, you know, Ariel Monroe, and, you know, how do you think she feels, and walks away. So, you know, once again, Nia Jax, you know, picks up victory. You know, the standard build, you know, she's building up her monster aura with these squad matches, which I have no problem with. You know, it was the same way in NXT. You know, she's a big girl. She's bigger than everybody else, so show that. Okay, Devin, I just finished. Oh wait, hold on. John, I hope they are not leading up to Big Show or Strowman. Yeah, that probably be lackluster. Devin, I just finished watching SummerSlam 2002, and man, to be honest, it's one of my favorite SummerSlams from top to bottom. Everything was me. Yeah, man, Devin, I hope you're still watching this. You know, I really hope you are, because I know your comment had been you know, minutes ago, but I agree with you straight up. SummerSlam 2002. I remember we watched that on pay-per-view, me and Chris. And I remember the funny thing is about SummerSlam 2002, initially, me and Chris, but especially Chris. No, not even just Chris, no. Immediately after SummerSlam 2002, initially, we did not really like the Brock Lesnar Rock match. You know, and that do it. I think that do it also with Rock losing, but it's just how the match at first came about. Where, you know, it was like Rock run to the ring. It's just like, and you know, and there's on the crowd when they was, you know, booing Rocky, you know, booing the Rock. You know what I'm saying? Rock sucks and everything. I remember initially it kind of rubbed me and Chris wrong. And I think Chris really didn't even want Brock to win because, you know, it was one of those ways, you know, just that quick. He, you know, just as quick as he debuted, he won the belt. So I remember initially, you know, we most of stayed away from the match. And even when Chris got pre-order SmackDown 2007, and if you pre-order SmackDown 2007, it would come like in this like metal box, and it would have like this trivia and everything, and it will also have inside the third disc like a sample disc. It'd be like the third disc of the history of the WWE Championship DVD, and on the third disc, you know, one of the matches is Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for SummerSlam. And I remember at first when we used to watch the compilation, we always skipped that match. And then, you know, I'm like, you know what? It's been a while since I actually the match. And then I started watching, I'm like, you know, it wasn't a bad match. It's just, I think like all the negative stuff that, you know, as a kid I had from it, it went away. You know, it went away. It's like, it's a good match. It really is a good match. I mean, yeah, if you did not appreciate The Rock getting booed and, you know, being chanted he sucked and everything, then yeah, I can understand. Like, yeah, but yeah, Devin, Summer 2002, one of the best, like you said, top to bottom, because it started with one of the best opening matches you can ever have. Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle. If you have not seen Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle, the SummerSlam 2002 opener, man, you're missing out on a great opening match. Talk about a match to get everything going. Even the Jericho Ric Flair match. I'm not saying it was anything to write home about, but it wasn't bad. There was not a bad match on Summer 2002. Even Undertaker and Taz wasn't the best of match, but it wasn't like horrible. Everything, you know, flowed great for Summer 2002. Not too long. I think it was like last year or so. I finally watched the pay-per-view in its entirety for the first time since watching it on pay-per-view in 2002. And I was just like, damn, this was a great-ass pay-per-view. And the Shawn Michaels Triple H was one of the best, probably if not the best, comeback match. And for me, that was probably the interesting thing about that match was that was my first Shawn Michaels match I watched. I knew who Shawn Michaels was, but by the time I knew him when I first saw Shawn Michaels, I think I first saw him. Yeah, I first saw Shawn Michaels when he was the commissioner. He was the commissioner. He was done, with his wrestling, and then I knew he was a wrestler because of games like Warzone and Attitude. But I had not really seen a match of his until SummerSlam 2002. So I knew who he was. I knew who Shawn Michaels, I knew who the Heartbreak Kid was, but I never really seen a match of his. And I'm just thinking like, this guy's that good. That was his comeback match. Man, he must have been great, really great, before he, left. And when I got to see more of his matches before he left, when, the showstopper and everything, I dare say that, and I'm not alone. Many people argue that Shawn Michaels' comeback tenure was better than, his tenure in the 90s. It can definitely be argued that it was a better, tenure. So yeah, Devin, you're right about Summer 2002. And the funny thing is that Summer 2002, that was in New York, but that wasn't the only event that was held in New York in 2002, because Survivor Series 2002 was great as well. That was the debut of the Elimination Chamber. That top and bottom too was spot on. So yeah, SummerSlam 2002, Summer 2002, Survivor Series 2002. I think out of the big four pay-per-views of that year, you probably say big five, because I think that's when that was the last time they had King of the Ring as a pay-per-view. But I think they used to sometimes count King of the Ring as like a big pay, but most times the big four. I thought I'd yet to see WrestleMania 18 all the way. I gotta do that one time. Watch WrestleMania 18, the whole event. I've only seen the whole event like through highlights and everything, but never like the whole entire thing like in its entirety. But Royal Rumble 2002 was great. SummerSlam 2002 was great. Probably SummerSlam 2002 was probably the best review of that year, 2002. And Survivor Series 2002 was great. So I didn't see WrestleMania 18. I know about Hogan and Rock. I've seen Hogan and Rock. I've actually seen Jericho versus Triple H finally. Like, that was like 2 years ago, I believe. I finally sat down and watched it. And I remember back like 2008 or so, I watched Jazz, Trish, and Lita. So I never saw Scott Hall and Austin all the way through. I only seen that through highlights. But I know for sure the big four pay-per-views, they were pretty spot on that year. John, where would you want WWE to go with Jax? Just talking about Nia Jax. I would like them, to basically, she's her own thing, but just use as a comparison, in a way how TNA treated Khan, treated her as a top priority, well, not just top priority, but somebody to, a force to be reckoned with. It's pretty A and B with Nia Jax. I mean, not saying that you can't add like, layers to her, but at the end of the day, she's, from her look and her size and everything and her strength, she's different from, the rest. So, not only showcase that, but exploit it. Take advantage of that she's different. She's bigger, she's stronger, than a Sasha Banks, than a Charlotte, than Alicia Fox, than Summer Rae, Paige, showcase that. Okay. Also, John, Seth is great on the mic. When Seth is not just cutting his usual promo about, I'm the man, everything. Yeah, well, Seth is, he's good on the mic. All right, in your case, great. You know, because I remember one of my friends, tell her, she was like, he basically says the same thing on the mic. But he just brags about being the man, and especially when I'm the undisputed future, and just like it was like the same promo. And I did agree that whether he had any say in how his promos came out or not, it was the same Seth Rollins. It was like it's like the same John Cena promo. Everybody knows the same John Cena. He almost kind of cut it on this SmackDown. Okay, John. No, John also. Finn is not that bad. Finn is not that bad. He's not horrible. Would I say Finn is charismatic or Mike? No, he's not charismatic, but he makes his point. And if in my opinion, I've always felt if you don't have some fancy catchphrase, or you're not that charismatic or Mike, as long as you make your point, I'm okay. Like for instance, recently on NXT, No Way Jose cut a promo on Austin Aries. Was it like the most, oh my God, promo? No, but he made his point. It flowed great. It flowed well, and he made his point, plain and simple. And I was like, that was a good promo. I enjoyed it. Basically talk about how, what he was trying to do, Austin Aries tried to, just, lighten him up and everything. And he got cheap shot, and everything. And how, I'm not going to take that. And now you call yourself the greatest man that ever lived. And I'm going to show that you're the greatest coward that ever lived. And I'm going to beat your ass. Plain and simple. Bam. Done. Has some fire to it, especially in the eyes. Good. So, yeah, Finn is not the most charismatic, but I've always felt that he can make his point. Excuse me. John, what was the best shared pay-per-view in your opinion? The best shared pay-per-view, in my opinion. Well, I'm trying to see a way I can put it, because from 2002 to 2000 and 2006, or 2006, yeah, for those years and a little bit of 2007, like until like Backlash. The shared pay-per-views were Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. But then Backlash 2007, it became, every pay-per-view was multi-branded, was tri-branded. At the time, ECW was there. So probably I would like to maybe be a little specific when it became only a set amount of pay-per-view were multi-branded, or just period. When it's Raw, SmackDown, and at the time ECW or so was on the same, sharing the same show. So just kind of get back with me, John, because it kind of helped me a little bit more. Because like I said, there came a time in 2007 on, Raw and SmackDown, but it was like that became the everyday thing for the pay-per-view. That Raw and SmackDown's on the same pay-per-view. Okay, hold on. Do you think Sami will have a match at SummerSlam? Good question. I'm not sure, because it seemed like from what happened on Raw, it seemed like it's setting up Jericho Owens to go up against Enzo and Cass, and I'm happy that it seems like Jericho and Owens might become a makeshift tag team, and I think the build has been there, so it hasn't just come out of anywhere. And I said it, Mark. I predict that will be your next makeshift tag team to become tag team champions. But speaking of Raw, what's the other thing with Heath Slater But Jinder Mahal came back. You know, he signed back with WWE. And you know, Heath Slater still without a brand, and Jinder Mahal was without a brand. And you know, they want to break up 2M. Now I want to do 2MB. And basically an impromptu match where the winner will get a spot on Raw. And at first, you know, we're like Jinder big boots on Raw. But do I think that's going to go anywhere? No, I doubt it. But Jinder Mahal never really amounted to anything. You know, when he first came, they try to make him a big deal, but yeah. Also, yeah, he had the New Day versus the Club where he had to be banned from ringside and turned out to be, Xavier. And what was the ending? Oh yeah, like Biggie, yeah, he rolled up Carl Anderson to get the win, but then Gallows Anderson, attacked him. And what I loved about this, because after Xavier tried to come, he got attacked. What I love about this was they still saw that Big E was stirring. So they, grabbed him by the ankles and they pulled him crotch first dragged him crotch first in the ring post. But they seriously made that like a big deal. Like, oh my God, Big E, like Jesus, like, oh my God. And then like the next segment, Big E's in the medical room. Like, I'm okay, don't touch me. And I'm thinking, that's like the first time I've ever seen in wrestling they make somebody getting hit in the balls. And we see plenty of low blows and everything, and we've seen people get dragged into the ring post. That was the first time they made that like a serious, like critical matter. I just had to laugh at that to the point where when Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins went against each other and Sami Zayn tried to walk the ropes and Rollins crushed him up, I was like, oh my God, Sami Zayn's going to go in the ER next. I'm just like, if Big E went to ER for getting his balls hurt, then that's going to happen to Sami Zayn. He just landed on his balls. So he's going to be put in the ER. There was also Cesaro versus Sheamus, and just like any Cesaro and Sheamus match, it's hard-hitting and physical, and it ended with, Cesaro countering a tilt-a-whirl slam into the neutralizer and Cesaro picking up the win. But then after the commercial break, we see that it seemed like something happened because both men were being restrained by security. So probably at SummerSlam, if there's room on the card, since it probably is because SummerSlam's going to be 3 hours, Cesaro goes up against Sheamus. Yeah. I feel that Cesaro should be the one going against Rusev for the United States Championship, in my opinion. So then we get on to the main event, like I was talking about before, Seth Rollins saying, and then despite, the comical thing I was talking about, I thought Sami Zayn was going to go in the ER because Big E went in the ER for hurting his balls. Overall, the match between Rollins and Zayn was good. It ended with Rollins dodging a Luva kick and hitting the pedigree 1, 2, 3. And that was it. They didn't lead to anything like Rollins trying to make a further statement and Balor coming out. I first thought that was going to happen, but no, it wasn't. Just Rollins got the win, and that was that. It was funny when I think it was Corey, I think it was Michael, like, Sami Zayn was, brought the best, but he just it was just too much for Rollins was just too much for. I'm thinking Cole or whoever said, like, the only thing Rollins did was just make a critical counter and hit a pedigree. It was like you made it seem as though like Jesus, like Zayn got dominated like from beginning to end, and it had some as they call it token offense. And then that led to the final segment with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. It was good to see Paul Heyman because it was good to see Paul Heyman because I listened to one of the clips of audio clips of when people upload for TV tracks from TV track uploads Solo Monsters podcast and talking about at the time Paul Heyman's contract with WWE had expired and there was no word on if they were making negotiations to make a renewal. So it was good to see Paul Heyman. Always good to see Paul Heyman. And he cuts a promo about the master of the Broctagon and everything, and he talks about how it brings up again the streak ending, and he's like you guys are still not over that, get over it and everything. And then he talks about Randy Orton, how it's not going to your ass, not lying. He was like, your ass is going to get beat up at SummerSlam. Take it from, the what he call himself, like the one wise Jew, that, those voices in your head and everything. And then he talk about how, you're not going to RKO Brock Lesnar, you're not going to get a chance to. And then sure enough, instantly, here comes Randy Orton from off camera, RKOs Brock Lesnar. And that's why after Brock Lesnar, after Randy Orton RKO Brock, you got Randy Orton like I don't know, like he's like those voices or something like, hey, I heard, hey, like, hey, I did it. And instantly, Shane, I was like Shane, Stephanie and Mick come out bringing out scares. It was funny. I'm like, is Mick trying to run down to get Orton? I'm thinking, Mick, you're not going to go. He's just like, hey, like, it's almost like my cousin says, he's like the search of old man, like, hey, you kids, get off my lawn. It's like, hey, Mick, you're not going to be able to get down there by running. You just can't do it. You can't do it. So the interesting thing was I said that about that saying was I knew that Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar, of course, they have a match or something. They gotta find some way to. First I'm thinking, okay, how are they really gonna, start doing where, Randy or Brock, they're gonna be jumping shows to get after each other in some degree, and instantly did it. I was not expecting, that to happen after this brand experience, so soon, where somebody from the opposite show comes on, and it's like, what the hell they're doing here? Because instantly, once Randy Orton dropped Brock Lesnar, referees and security came in, and I knew instantly, like, yeah, they're going with the whole that, yeah, you're on SmackDown, you're not supposed to be here, you're an intruder, get out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that's why when I with Brock Lesnar, it was like, yeah, he was an intruder. So I was not really expecting that to be the case, instantly, even though I should have, because it was doing Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. But I thought it was going to be like more like, if it is a segment between Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, it's on like a Raw or SmackDown where one has to go on the opposite. It was going to be like set up like, the contract signing, or, Randy or Shane McMahon, Bryan, and Mick Foley and Steph has come to agreement where Brock Lesnar or Randy Orton, they're going to come, face to face on Raw or SmackDown. But, and then maybe then it'll lead to, the hostile attacks. So, but, despite really this feud having like a real story behind why it's happening, I think, the fans are into it, especially after that RKO, the crowd lived up. But as an overall show, I really did not like, the Raw too much. Because you had the Braun Strowman squash, you had the Nia Jax squash match. So I understood those were not going, but in between that, you had Mark Henry and Rusev that, once again, it was what we thought it was. And it wasn't that long. And well, I'm not saying it had to be like 20 minutes, but it was pretty short. And then you got Jinder Mahal and Kurt and Keith. Somebody call him Kurt Hawkins. I believe Kurt Hawkins has signed back, I believe too. So that wasn't that long. You know, Cesaro and Sheamus, I think was like probably roughly like 6 or 10 minutes. I could be wrong. So it was like, yeah, especially coming off of the Titus O'Neil, Darren Young match, which especially after coming off the hot Raw, to kick off the new era of the brand split. This one was kind of on the flat side, but not saying that's going to be the trend of things. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think Raw kind of fell a little bit flat. Okay, John, the more tag teams you have, the better. Not only the more tag teams. Not only that, the more tag you have, just even if you have a short amount of tag team, because even in NXT, the tag team division was never that huge, but still had the likes of American Alpha, Enzo and Cass were on there, the Vaudevillains and the Revival. That wasn't a big division, but at least they were, and Blake and Murphy, which was and the Hype Brothers, but they were still getting a time where you actually felt they were credible. Big Rick, Triple H and Shawn Michaels was one of the best matches and finishes I have seen. JR's comedy was pure gold. Hell yeah, JR's comedy was pure gold. Especially he's like, how can this person? How can we talk to? How can he even be from this planet? Do you have no heart? Do you have no soul? You son of a bitch! Do you realize what you've done? It's like, once again, Jared making you feel and make you, really like, yo, this Triple H is a freaking, rat bastard. It's like, yo, it's an ungrateful bastard. John, the only thing I did not like about SummerSlam 2002 was the Howard Finkel segment. Yeah, that was probably the only thing that was not really too important. If you guys don't remember, around that time, they was trying to game for some odd reason. I'm about to say game. For some odd reason, they started having like Howard Finkel come across heelish. Cause I think it was like where he would like be disrespectful to Lillian Garcia. I think even one time he I'm trying to think. I think one time he even what did he do to Lillian? He even like caused her like to get beat up by a 3-minute warning. If I'm not mistaken, he was when Lillian got beat up when she got Samoan dropped by Jamal, aka Umaga. It was because of Howard Finkel. And like from during that period, like I was like, it was like weird. They was making Howard Finkel come across like a jerk, but he was still trying to come across as as like this like affable like fool. But it was like he was supposed to be like a heel or whatever, and it was towards Lillian Garcia, and then like almost instantly they dropped it. But like after a while they just dropped it. But yeah, for some time, there was some deal with Howard Finkel where he was just being disrespectful, and he was, I'm like the talker of WWE, not you. And then it led to, at SummerSlam, Trish and Lillian, I think mostly Lillian kicking Howard Finkel in the balls. Big Rick, I have to go. It's lunchtime down there. Hopefully I'll see you on the next corner. Likewise, Big Rick, I hope that you finish watching me to see the big announcement. And speaking of the big announcement, because about that time for me about to close the corner. Yeah, there's a big announcement for this corner. Big announcement. Really big. Everybody mostly knows that August 20th, which is on Saturday, is NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which they are calling Back to Brooklyn. And of course, that next day is going to be SummerSlam. But it's more about, for me, it's more about TakeOver. Reason why I say it's more about TakeOver, because not only is it probably NXT, I think TakeOver is not, they think they now present it almost as like the big takeover, like the out of all takeovers, that's probably the biggest. But I am happy to say that I am going to be in attendance for TakeOver Brooklyn. Yes. 2 tickets. One for me and one for my brother. We are going to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Back to Brooklyn. We are going. And I don't know if you was able to see it, but we are gonna be, floor side seats. Not like within like the hard can, but we're gonna be on the floor. I think we're gonna be like probably in the corner, like row. Let's see again. Row. Like row 10 or floor 5. But it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me because I've been to one live event for WWE, was back in 2008. And I will always thank Chris for buying those tickets. When me and him went. But going to live events is one thing, and same thing with Chris. When he was younger, he went to a lot of live events for WWE. Heck, that's how he got brought to Glasswell. Unfortunately, he has no proof. There's no proof of that because our father missed and stepped on him, as Chris says. But none of us had ever been, and then this will be my second WWE event. None of us had ever been to a broadcasted event. Remember, live events, they're not broadcasted. They're house shows. But NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, this is going to be broadcasted on the network. Yeah, it's not going to be on pay-per-view like SummerSlam will. Some of those is going to be on network too. But still, the point is, it's going to be broadcasted. Something that we can look back and say, hey, when we're watching it, hey, we were there. It does my heart, good, and I think, I think, it would never happen if I never got, the work study position, at my college, because I did all that saving, and I'm not going to try to make this like a life lesson now, but hey, they most times say, save your money if you in some way you want to, reward yourself or, have fun. And instantly, one of the things I thought when I got, the work study position in the academic center was that, hey, maybe I could save up to the point where, me and Chris could go to, SummerSlam or TakeOver. And there was a part of me that debated which one to go to, but then I was like, not only would this be my first broadcasting event, it would also be, Chris' first time going to a broadcast event. But we've both been to a WWE event, We've never been to NXT. And almost at the point where we've become more NXT fans, we've become bigger NXT fans than the main roster. But that's not to say that SummerSlam is going to be a bad show because so far the card looks pretty good. We already been announced that AJ Styles, John Cena, Part 2, Ambrose, Ziggler, and Rollins, Balor, and seems like Rusev and Reigns. That already shaped Orton and Lesnar. Already shaped it to be a great card. But I want to see, what NXT is all about. I want to experience, the atmosphere of NXT crowd. I want to experience, when Nakamura comes out. I want to experience that. And fortunately, and I'm happy to say that me and Chris are going to be able to experience that come August 20th at the Barclays Center for NXT TakeOver back to Brooklyn. I'm just going to, once again, close to show that proof these are legitimate tickets. Yeah. And I'm not doing it to show off. I just wanted to share with you guys that, something that this is a big deal for me. I've always wanted to go to a broadcasted event for whether it be a Raw that came to MSG or so, or a pay-per-view. I always wanted to go. And I remember one of my goals was to go to WrestleMania 30. Because at the time, I always thought that when WrestleMania 30 happens, it's coming back to Madison Square Garden. And only to find out that no, that wasn't the case. It was just like, oh man, that was a dream of mine. I said that dream from WrestleMania 20 that, man, WrestleMania 30 comes, man, me and Chris, we're going to that. We're going for even though it's not really it'll be not really the 30th anniversary, but still, it'll be a big deal. John, I have been to a WWE broadcast show. I was at the Raw for WrestleMania 23. It was great. You had fun. Wow. Okay. I did not know that, John. You was at the Raw for WrestleMania 23. I'm trying to remember. That wasn't the Raw. I think the next Raw was when Shawn Michaels and John Cena had their classic hour-long match. But bring WrestleMania 23 was not a bad pay-per-view either. So, and John, I do feel that I will have fun too. I think me and Chris will have fun at TakeOver Brooklyn. And that was the thing when I was contemplating buying the tickets. Problem is like, I just want to be there. But then the problem is like, if I could get good seats, then heck, why not do it? Why not do it? And John, it was in Dayton. That's okay. I didn't even remember where the Raw after WrestleMania 23 was. Okay. But, I know it's going to be awesome. I just cannot wait. The funny thing is, when I bought the tickets, I was waiting like, okay, am I supposed to be getting an email to, print these things out or something? And I went to the wrong, I kept looking at the wrong email account that I had. I kept going to my AOL when I told them to send the tickets to my Yahoo account. And I'm like, oh shoot, not too long, I'm like, oh shoot, there they are. But yeah. And already TakeOver Brooklyn looked to be a good card. Nakamura versus Joe. Asuka versus Bayley Part 2. I believe American Alpha. I believe they're going to go up against the Authors of Pain. I could be wrong. Now that American Alpha is on, the main roster. I know they had a match at One NXT. I think it was last week. No, the week before last week. But I didn't get to see that one, so I'm not sure if it ended in an actual finish or something happened. Even though there's a part of me that wish that I went to last year's TakeOver, but heck, the point is that me and Chris, we're going. I think before TakeOver, I'm going to buy an NXT shirt. I don't know if it's going to be We Are NXT or heck, even a Nakamura shirt. But I know for sure probably before the event, I'll be buying an NXT shirt. But that's the big announcement I wanted to share with you guys. TakeOver is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be surprised if it's not. And it's not a good, TakeOver. Because once again, I'll say it again. I think I've said this plenty of times on the corner. I'll say it again. I have never seen a bad TakeOver. There has yet to be a bad TakeOver where you're just like, yeah, that was bad. Not saying every takeover is memorable, but I can't think of a takeover where people were saying, yeah, that wasn't good. It was not good at all. There was nothing good about the paper. I mean, about the takeover event. I don't think that's ever been. I don't think that really has ever been said. So that's why I don't expect. That's why I don't expect anything differently with Back to Brooklyn. I expect Joe and Nakamura to be a hell of a match. I expect Oscar and Bayley. I expect them to top what they did at Dallas. So, yeah, man. 18 more days. 18 days until Takeover Back to Brooklyn. Can't be more excited. So that was a big announcement I wanted to share with you guys. So I guess you can say that if there's any episode of the Wrestling Corner, this will probably be a not a milestone, but like a special episode where, oh yeah, I'm just saying, like, on episode 6 of season 5, yeah, Malcolm announced that, yeah, and showed us the tickets that he was going to, him and his brother, Mount Vernon kid, were going to, NXT TakeOver Back to Brooklyn. But anyway, this was episode 6 of season 6 of the Wrestling Corner. I'm Hoka 93, always in the place to be. And I hope you enjoyed the corner. And until the next corner, you guys stay easy and peace.